In part 1, I discussed how Ascension is an automatic process and that we simply have to do the task that is presented before us. I would also like to add that we just follow our curiosity. It will lead you where you need to go. You cannot hold on to ego consciousness and rise into Christ consciousness at the same time. That's like trying to hold on to the ground while you're trying to take off in an airplane. You can't do it. The idea of killing the ego, that sounds so violent and so harsh, and it isn't a violent or harsh thing. It's, the ego was necessary in self-preservation. It was necessary in existing in this physical world because it was so harsh. And this is why we have narcissism. Narcissism is the extreme form of the ego consciousness. It is the extreme form of self-preservation in the physical world because narcissists are highly materialistic. They view people and objects as an extension of themselves. And the ego, by very definition, ego is about identifying with the physical, identifying with who you think you are here in the physical, your little limited avatar, your limited life experience, the things that you have in your life, your career, your house, your job, your status, your intellect, your physical appearance, your clothes, your sense of fashion, your knowledge, all of those things go into forming an identity of who you think you are. And it's very limiting because you're so much more than that. But it doesn't mean you aren't those things. Those are part of who you are. They're a reflection of who you are, but it isn't the essence of who you are. You need to detach from the physical, yes, because you have to realize that the physical is an illusion. Detaching from the physical is different from throwing things away or not valuing the physical things in your life. You need to value the physical things in your life. You need to value your body, your home, your family, all the people in your life. You need to value them. You need to value the experience you're having here. So to shed the ego, perhaps is a better way of explaining it, to me just means letting go of identifying with the external. This means not forming your identity based on things that are outside of you. So you gotta let go of your fake story of who you thought you were before you encountered the truth. You have to let go of caring what other people think of you. Not hold any personal attachments to things like money or status, prestige, power, ambition, belongings, appearances. But this doesn't mean that you have to be poor and get rid of all the physical things in your life. It certainly doesn't mean that you should hate the physical, which some sets of beliefs tend to tell you. The idea of the demiurge makes people think that this place is run by Satan, and so everything that is associated with the physical is evil, which is not true. If anything, going through that realization, going through that process allows for you to detach from the physical and not needing it so much, not wanting it so much, not caring about having certain things in your life so much. It's a necessary part of the process. It's not the end of the process. When you appreciate what you have, more will be given to you. If you do not appreciate what you have will be taken away. Many of the teachings I have come across in my many years of study, predominantly from the New Age teachers, have focused on reaching the end result. Things like being present, acting neutral, being the observer, raise your frequency. These were all results of being in Christ consciousness, even though they didn't really talk about Christ consciousness. Intuitively, I knew there had to be an easier way because all of these required constant maintenance, and it was just really easy to fall back into old habits. The things that you need to do or be will be automatic. It is just who you are at that point. And there's no forcing it. There's no struggle. Once I changed my consciousness, the rest of these things came more naturally and easily. You can't advise someone on how to rise into Christ consciousness by saying, here's what it looks like, so go do these things. You can't identify as being in Christ consciousness. You have to actually be in it. How do I know that that's what they're doing? By very definition of what Christ consciousness is. It's consciousness. It's not behavior. It's not how to behave like Jesus. It's how to have a change in consciousness. And you cannot do that by changing your behavior. That's how I know that it's not accurate. The process that you go through, the experience that you have, fundamentally and profoundly shatters the idea of who you thought you were, what you thought this world was, and this is why the truth shall set you free, because the truth is part of this process. That is a fundamental key in understanding who you are, why you're here, and getting into Christ consciousness. You cannot get into Christ consciousness without knowing the truth, because it's all connected. All of the pieces fit together. You can't just do one thing. The process of rising into Christ consciousness is not something that happens instantaneously. It's not like spontaneous human combustion. There isn't a defining moment where you can say, as of this date and this time, I was awakened and I changed into Christ consciousness. It doesn't happen that way. There's so much more that goes into it. There is a triggering moment that starts you on your path. That may not even be a defining moment. That might be something that you've always been on throughout the course of your life. Everybody is different. Everybody's different because you're born into this world at a different point on your path, depending on how you lived your previous lives, or what you've accumulated in knowledge from the past lives, or where you are in your personal experience. It seems likely that those who are experiencing a life that is rooted deep in the lower mind tend to jump up in the process a little more, well, simply because they have more to shed, but also because the people who don't have a lot of those lower mind behaviors, they don't have as much to heal. It might be even harder for them because they don't view themselves as in such a dire situation. Like the pressure isn't on for them, and so it might be harder to shed those behaviors because it's easier to rationalize. It's easier to say, well, I'm not this. I have a career and everything, but I'm not a workaholic. But a lot of that is just rationalizing, holding on to something they're not ready to let go of. All of it's fine. There is nothing in your personal experience that is wrong. It's your personal experience. You can't possibly say that you're living wrong and you're living wrong. Everybody's living their life the way that they absolutely should at this time. So if you have things in your life that you need to shed or evolve out of or grow out of, you will, as long as you are on the path, as long as you have committed to being on the path. If you're not on the path, you're not even aware that there's a path. Don't make yourself wrong for being where you are. Consider this as me talking to me from where I'm at now to where I was yesterday. And, just take what I say and reflect on it in terms of how you perceive yourself and where you are, what's right for you and what's right for your path. Digest it in that way, because I can't possibly tell you what you need because I'm not you. I'm only talking about my personal experience. I'm only talking about what I see and what I know. And I'm not in any way like telling you that you have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to be on the Christ consciousness path. You're on it because you chose it. And when I was at a certain stage in my journey, I was struggling with it. I was frustrated with myself in that I felt like I should be where I'm not. I should be further along because I was aware that there was more. I was wanting to get ahead when I hadn't gone through what I needed to go through in order to get there. It's like you can't just jump from California to New York without going through all the other states. You have to go through the other states to get to the other side. I'm just saying, don't get upset with yourself. Don't get mad at yourself. Don't punish yourself because it's not going to help you. Be kind to yourself. That's what I mean. I mean, this whole process is an experience, and you are here for a reason, and you're going through this experience for a reason. There's no need to beat up on yourself. There's no need to punish yourself. There's no need to be mad at yourself or frustrated with yourself. Just be kind to yourself and know that everything you need to get to where you're going is going to come your way. You just need to be receptive enough to see it and receive it and accept it and not block it with fear. But even if you do block it with fear, it's perfectly acceptable. A lot of people don't know what Kundalini awakening is because everyone's explanation is so vastly different. That's totally fine and understandable because we're so embedded in lies. We're still kind of fumbling in the dark trying to figure it out. You know, some of these people going through Kundalini awakening and they're having some really negative experiences or harsh experiences. And if you're having negative experiences, I think that just means that you've got some negative experiences to deal with and to confront that you haven't dealt with. And if you're purging some deep pain that's been buried that you didn't know was there, that's only a good thing. Unfortunately, the way that our culture is that we will look at negative feelings and negative experiences as a bad thing. But if you are ill and you vomit, it's only going to make you better because you're getting out the thing that's making you ill. In order to get better, you have to purge the thing that's making you sick. If you didn't know that it was there and you're going through a painful or negative experience where you cry a lot or you have gut-wrenching reactions to something or you go through a mental breakdown or you can't function in society or you have a really negative, harsh reaction to something that you learned, something that changes your perception, it's normal. And we have to stop looking at this so-called negative experience as negative. It's a part of the healing process. So don't look at these negative experiences as something you should stop or not be having or as demons or anything absurd like that. It's part of the healing, purging process. I mean, yeah, it's painful. It can be very painful, but if you're grieving and you're leaving things behind and realizing how toxic your life was, I mean, that's going to be painful. You can't expect it to be anything else. Basically, just embrace the process, look forward, don't get stuck in fear, and just take it one day at a time. I will continue this in another video. If you like this video, please show your support for my channel. Like, share, subscribe, comment, contribute. Contributions over $15 will receive a link to the Johnny Depp Dark Shadows material, so please be sure to include your email address. Kindly visit my website, subscribe to my backup channels, join the Discord group. All links are in the description box below. Thanks for listening. Hope you're having a great day. Bye for now.